Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all for coming to this virtual event about networking from wherever you are in the world. Maria and I have put this together aiming to help career starters in the hospitality, events, and tourism industries, as well as students in those industries, get a little bit more comfortable with networking. We are so excited that so many people were interested in this event. It's absolutely incredible to think that over 100 people have RSVP'd yes on our LinkedIn event. And so we really hope that you're going to find the event really valuable and informative. So whether you're watching this live or catching up on the recording afterwards, please do let us know what you think. You can comment directly on the YouTube with your questions or any comments about the session as well. Feel free to post anything afterwards in the LinkedIn event. So quick introduction, I'm Katrina, more well known as Kat or the Nerdy Hotelier. I have worked in hospitality for over 12 years now in all areas of the industry, starting my career as a waitress and a dishwasher, kind of moving on to my career just before COVID as a multi-hotel sales management person. And I'm currently doing freelance marketing, events, and business engagement. I really wanted to host this event and events like this because I've personally really found that networking is a huge game changer in almost every level of my career so far. However, I know just how hard it is to get started. I've been a student, I've been an early career professional, and I can only imagine how much harder it's gotten now that everything has gone virtual. So I hope this event will give you some great ideas on how to start your networking journey, and I'm delighted to pass over to Maria.
Hi, everybody. Hello. My name is Maria, and as you can see on the screen, I also go by Saif Hotelier, which is some little sort of side hustle I started a couple of years ago because I realized there's so much I learned over the last few years after graduating hospitality myself and getting into the workplace. So it's like, wow, I want to share this information. So I started Saif Hotelier to share this information with fresh graduates, students, anyone else who sort of wants to know a little bit more about the hospitality industry. And this is the exact same reason I've agreed to this idea with Kat to host this fantastic event for you, because networking has changed. I learned a lot about networking over the last year itself. And I think we need to share this. It's not a secret. It's very much common sense, but it's also something that can be really, really difficult to get started with. But professionally, I'm a guest experience consultant and brand manager. I love thinking about the guest journey, the little details that make it really all worth it and special, and how to really turn it around and make it branded and personalized for whether that's a big brand, independent restaurants, or whatever in between. So that's a little bit about me, but with us today, we have three amazing guests joining us, which we will introduce one by one as we ask them a couple of questions about their networking journeys and their stories. So first off, you will hear about Saif Saiyed, hospitality and tourism management student just graduating tomorrow, actually, as a matter of fact, from University of Portsmouth. He brings such important insight into networking as a student and how this has assisted him in dealing with challenges and job searches during COVID. Next up, we'll hear from Anna Kivella, recent marketing and events festival management graduate from Edinburgh Napier University in Scotland. Anna is based in New York right now as a virtual conference event coordinator. So over the course of the year, she moved continents, she found a job, she graduated, and there's really lots of insight. We're looking forward to hearing from her. And finally, you'll hear from Nicola Roth, client and brand service director at MySpoke, and a freelance events manager, a event podcast host, and a London ambassador of the Female Hospitality Network. Wow, that was a lot. You're a really, really accomplished person. I'm looking forward to hearing from Nicola, a networking guru in the events industry, as she brings huge insight into this panel. So after these individual conversations, we'll also bring all of our panels up together for discussion to answer your questions. So make sure you do pop the questions in the comment section of the YouTube stream, and then we will make sure to answer those to the best of our abilities during the live. And if you're watching this on recording as well, pop them in the comment section and we will answer them as well afterwards.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for finishing that introduction, Maria. So without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce you to Saif Saiyed. Welcome, Saif. Lovely to have you here.
Hello, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. A big shout out to and thanks to you and Maria for giving me this opportunity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just really quick, I know we said it and your face wasn't there, but congratulations, you're graduating tomorrow. How
Thank you so much.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about this tomorrow as well. I'm traveling to Portsmouth. I'm in London at the moment. We'll be going to London to Portsmouth tomorrow for my graduation. Just looking forward to that.
Yeah, amazing. Good. Well, to get us started then, we're going to ask the same question to every of the three guests that we have today. But I think it's a really important question because the first thing that we want to get out is a true real life experience where networking has worked. So I'd really like it if you could tell us an example of a time that networking has benefited your career and how it's helped you.
Okay. So last year I did an internship in Fort Lauderdale in Florida as a food and beverage intern. It was part of my university program. So it was difficult for me to find a placement with so much competition and so many students in the university. So I went. It was a new settings for me, a new place, new workplace. But I did ended up getting a internship in Fort Lauderdale through networking. I texted some of my colleagues from university, my lecturers, like just to ask them to help me, and they were really helpful with that through my time in university. They helped me with that. So I did find an internship there, and within that internship as well, I made new contacts, I met new people. I used to introduce myself to everyone just to get to know them and for them to know me better, and that was throughout the year. I used to like contact every person in a different departments. For example, food and beverage department, rooms divisions, and everyone. So I used to be in contact with them to make networking better for me and for like my future career.
Yeah, amazing. And I love that, that you said to kind of get yourself out there and to put yourself ahead of the other students. You just texted everyone, who can I contact? Who can I get in touch with? Who can I ask? And that's really, what it's all about is getting yourself out there and seeing who can help you.
Yeah. And this form of networking was not limited till my placement. Even until now, throughout the pandemic, I was in contact with all my managers, all my colleagues, and just to get to know how the hospitality industry is going on in the United States at the moment after the pandemic.
Yeah. And that's really valuable information too, especially, I know that you were job searching and having that knowledge of what's going on in the world can be so valuable to the hotels that you're applying for positions for. So being able to have something to talk to, I'm sure was really beneficial in your interviewing as well.
Yeah, it really helped me throughout. Like I got to learn a lot of people from different industry as well, not just hospitality industry. Like I said, I was working in a yacht club, so even I got in touch with the members there, and they were really helpful. They gave me the cards, and I got in touch with them, and they said whenever you need any help or even in the future, you can just let us know, drop us an email. So it was really helpful.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, good. Well, I'm so happy to hear that, that experience has been really beneficial for you. And I'd love to know, kind of as our next question, as a student studying hospitality and tourism management, there was successes with your networking, but what do you find your biggest challenges were when it came to networking?
So I would say one of the biggest challenges has been able to stand out from others, especially able to stand out from other recent graduates. Like as opportunities to network do not always strike out. You have to take twists and turns to get to know someone and especially put yourself out there. So one of the example where I led my ways to create opportunities to network, especially to stand out from recent graduate, I began networking employers on LinkedIn. It just gave me a fair boost to introduce myself directly and have a one-on-one conversation, so I can put myself out there and tell them what I'm exactly looking for.
Amazing.
So I did overcome these challenges as well throughout my time.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, when you were reaching out to people on LinkedIn, did you find that just connecting with people worked? Or when you connected with them and you used those 300 characters to send them a message
Yeah.
and let them know why you were connecting, did you find that helped when reaching out to people?
Definitely, that was a big advantage for me as well. So basically, I had this conversation with you. That's how I made a network with you as well. And so that 300 characters, I just used to say, I introduced myself like I'm a hospitality recent graduate, blah 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 internship. I've done this previously, and they used to get back to me like, oh, excited to see you in the industry. And from then the conversation begins, and I just starts like, I would love your advice, as you have a pleasant journey in hospitality industry. What advice would you give for a fresh graduate? And they used to really be they used to get back to me. And honestly, like, I've applied at so many jobs. I haven't got any jobs from the job sites, but I've got 3 job offers throughout just networking on LinkedIn.
Amazing, amazing. That's exactly what we're looking to hear. I'm so happy, and I believe, if I'm not saying everything, telling everyone that's watching, but you've accepted one of those job offers, correct?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
So I still have I got 3 offers, final offers from 3 different brands, and I accepted one of them. And these 3 offers were through LinkedIn. It was not from job sites or any other platforms. It was through LinkedIn, through networking. I just contacted the general manager, and then it was stages of interviews, and fortunately I got selected in one of them.
Yeah, amazing. And, I don't just want to say that it was just networking and it was just LinkedIn, because it was 100% you.
Yeah.
You've gone out, you've made the effort, you've put all this effort into networking and to getting your name out there to the industry. So I'm very proud of you for that. Excellent job. Amazing. So my next question was going to be, how has networking changed your job search? But we did talk about that a little bit just now. But was there any other avenues that you used networking for as well?
Like I mentioned, like, I got in contact with you from one of the webinars you did in my university, and through that we made a network as well. So I mean, I emailed you like, I have job interviews coming up. I don't know what job search I have to do after graduating. I just freshly graduated. So that sort of networking really helped me as well. Like, you told me you prepared me for the interviews, and you gave me some good tips and points. So that sort of networking helped me as well.
Yeah, amazing. And that's really important to know as well. It's not just networking to get a job, it's networking to take other people's expertise and how that can help you develop yourself and prepare you for those job interviews. Like, for example, we did interview prep and practice questions and all that type of stuff. Yeah, amazing. Well, my final question for you then, Saif, what advice would you give to your earlier self when it comes to networking? Are there any advice or tips that you've learned in the last year that you wish you could have told yourself?
Yeah, one of the advice I would give my younger self is, there is no wrong way to network. I mean, when I begin my networking, I often contemplated right form to network, especially like, I just used to think like, am I doing it right, or is it the right way to do it? However, through my hardships, I just realized there is no ideal way for networking. I mean, it does not come. Networking does not come with certain steps or sets of rules or regulations. So I would just say one must improvise, adapt, and innovate. So even if you fail, you should just adapt and innovate.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's really, really insightful, because I do feel that a lot of people are a little scared to get started. They don't know where to get started. And that's just it. Just dive in, go. If you make some mistakes along the way, that's okay. Just learn from them and keep moving forward.
Excellent. What a fantastic way. Before you go, though, I want to, because you won't be able to join us for the panel, unfortunately, I want to ask you a question from Vita here. It's, what if you send a bunch of requests on LinkedIn and they never respond? What do you do? How do you handle that?
I'm afraid that wasn't clear. What was that again, Maria?
If you send requests on LinkedIn to people with messages and customization, what if they don't respond?
I mean, I don't take that as a bad thing. I mean, of course, like I said, hospitality industry is a vast industry. Any doors can open anytime. So I would really think as they might be busy or they might not have a vacancy at the moment for job search, and if it's not just for the job search, they might be really busy with their career. So I just used to like instead of LinkedIn message, I just used to go on their profile. I mean, of course everyone on LinkedIn do stalk, and stalking is good on LinkedIn.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, I just go on their profile, try to find more information about them, where do they work, especially if I find their job email or like the place they work. I can just walk in and ask them to like, is it okay to have a conversation, just a quick chat maybe. So it's basically better than sending an email. If you can just walk in and ask for a couple of minutes of their time, so they can understand you as well, and they can see how motivated I am just to get to know them or just to make a network with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, I know that you, for everyone that's here, unfortunately, Saif won't be able to join us in the panel. So I just want to say right now, before we let you go, big thank you for being here. Really appreciate your insights and everything that you've accomplished over the last year. Congratulations on graduating and the new job. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was bang on. I promise we didn't tell him to say those things. They were just perfect. It's all true. It's his real honest story. And if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, reach out to him on LinkedIn, like he has, and I'm sure he will reply, and he will love to give you some tips and share some advice personally as well. Yes, and so next up, our guest is Anna. Thank you so much, Anna, for joining us. Let me just bring you up here. Fantastic. Anna is joining us from New York. She is on her lunch break, and you can see she's on the streets as well. So kind of really at work.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm hearing a bit of echo.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay, no problem. No problem. If when things go live, that's what happens. We get things like that. We just have to work it out. So I'm sure we can do that. And if you maybe restart the page, and we can get to you in a minute. But see.
Let's test it out. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. It's a little, so sometimes it was a little bit choppy, the connection, but I can hear you.
Very good. And the echo is gone, so that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Amazing. So we've got the same question for you to start with as well, is what is your story of an example of when networking has worked for you in your career?
Yeah, so my networking journey started about 9 years before Saif's did. And I feel like everybody is so much luckier nowadays than I was when I first graduated from undergrad, because LinkedIn was barely just a thing. And I think, like Saif was saying about the competitiveness, I definitely succumbed to that when I was younger. So in 2019, I decided to go back to school, to university, and I thought I'm going to do it different this time. I'm going to apply myself like crazy. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to all of the job fairs and everything that Student Futures has to offer. And I was very lucky that my university offered all of that kind of stuff. And the first 6 months of my university experience, I was in person. So I made sure to get everything in. And then the pandemic hit, obviously. And I was nervous that I was going to lose all of those opportunities. But luckily, luckily, my university is already international. And sorry. And, you know, they were pretty virtual before the pandemic, which was great. So they had a bunch of different virtual events and webinars and things like that. And through an Instagram story for my university, I found an Hotelier event that I went to, and through that met Kat, and, you know, was inspired by her story. And I was starting my own wedding planning business, so her personal branding story really interested me. And I was in a job that I wasn't loving back in, you know, February, March. So I reached back out to Kat about, you know, virtual conferences and things like that, trying to kind of expand my resume because I'm an in-person events kind of person. So for that, I, you know, volunteered for some virtual conferences and things like that, and decided to put it on my my job alerts on LinkedIn and Indeed and all those other places. And within a couple of months had an offer for a virtual conference events coordinator. So, and that's, you know, the position that I'm in now. So I had never thought to do virtual conferences, but you pivot and you talk to people and you learn about, you know, these things. And you know, I never would have had this job had I not, you know, volunteered for some of those virtual conferences and things like that through Kat. So here I am.
I did not mean for that to be so about me. I did not mean for this to be about me.
Well, Kat has connected lots of people through networking, I'm sure, and she's a fantastic person to know, so definitely connect with Kat as well, if you're watching. But it's a really, really cool story of how you took all the opportunities that were available to you, and you know, looking at your university's Instagram stories, maybe not like the biggest priority, but actually you find out things you otherwise won't be able to find out because, you know, email newsletters only have so much space and you're only going to read them at a particular point in time, and you just have to engage with as much as you can to really find those opportunities, don't you? And that brings us to the next question is, what kind of opposite of it is, what kind of obstacles do you see students facing today on graduates, like on networking, the industry in general, and what kind of advice do you have when it comes to overcoming those particular obstacles?
I think, you know, Saif said that there was the competition and making yourself stand out. And I think that that is definitely huge nowadays because especially in events and hospitality where things might only be at a certain capacity. So, you know, when you have attendees as at a certain capacity, you have staff at a certain capacity too. So the competition almost sort of goes up. And then on like a networking level, I think that definitely finding those connections, because when you're in university and you're interning and volunteering and doing all of those sort of things in person, it's sort of an organic network. You meet people and you're talking to the person next to you, and then you connect on LinkedIn, and it just kind of organically happens. And it's a little bit different now. You have to have a little bit even more confidence than you normally would to really stand out and to really apply yourself, because that organic isn't happening. And it's hard on virtual too, because, you know, I think we've gotten so much better over the last year and a half, but connecting virtually is hard.
It does take an extra effort, because you can't really just have a casual conversation by the coffee machine or somewhere sort of passing by. You have to make a proactive effort to go say, hi, you don't know me. And that is scary. It's scary. And it doesn't matter what age you are. I think it's always scary. And you get used to it, I think, at a point if you do it regularly. But again, if you stop, it becomes like a new thing again, right? Amazing. So one thing that is super cool is that you moved during the pandemic from Scotland, Edinburgh, UK, back to the US. While you were finishing school, you've had to find a job, find a new network. Did you have a network in New York City, or did you have to build it from scratch? How did you start with that? Or you got the job and now you're in it, but is there anything else around there?
It makes sense that you would have your network where you are physically, and obviously you have to, especially if you're going for in-person jobs. You need to have, a network that's going to help you get a job where you are. But as far as like starting over and starting from scratch, I never felt like that was something that I had to do. I was very lucky to have my first 6 months at university in person, and through that met a network of people that are now very close friends. That we were in the same classes together, we were going to the same networking events together, and everything like that through university. And because we all are going through the pandemic together, we had to finish our dissertations a world apart, virtually. And I think that brought us closer together. And though I'm in the States and I have friends in Ireland and all different places, we're a very global virtual economy nowadays. And I think that your network doesn't necessarily have to be where you are. Obviously, the three of us here are not in the same place, but we're a network. So I think it depends on what you want out of your network. I really enjoy talking to my friends back at university. We'll share resumes and cover letters for each other to edit. We will do mock interviews. We will, if somebody sees a job opening that they think somebody else might be great for, we'll share it. Just those sort of things, because that can be what a network is too. So your physical job where you actually work, yes, I've had to, make a network here in the States and in New York, but I don't feel confined to having my network in New York.
I think we have become a global world now, especially thanks to the pandemic, more so that you just can't connect with anyone anywhere without having as much of an excuse. You don't have to meet them in person. I think it's fantastic benefits we've got. All right, final question is that you've got quite a few event certificates, which is amazing. And have you found these certificates and obviously the education that you have to go through to get them have helped you with your network in the industry?
Definitely. And I think, I don't necessarily think that I would have gone for so many different certifications if it hadn't been for the pandemic, because I didn't want to be one of those people that was sitting around kind of, woe is me, because I'd be a hypocrite to say I didn't do that a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that, when the world opened back up, that I was the most marketable I could be. And so, I had my events master's degree, which was amazing. But, I was sitting around and I said, what can I do to make sure that I'm ready? So I got my wedding planning certification. And obviously weddings weren't happening, but by the time I finished my certification, they're happening again. So now I have a different door that I have a possibility for. And it doesn't have to be like anything crazy. It can be just, a certification that you get via LinkedIn or something like that. But any little bit of information that you can bring to the table can help you network. It can help you meet somebody you might not have ever met before. I just think that the different certificates and the different degrees that I have opened so many doors that wouldn't have been opened without them.
There we go. Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anna. We have a couple of questions from the audience, but we're going to save them for a little bit later at the end. So if anyone else has any other questions, do please send them through. We will make sure to get them answered. I think that was a brilliant thing. You have to keep moving, you have to learn, and you can connect with people anywhere. Just like Saif said, and Anna, it can be certifications, it can be reaching out to people you don't know, it can be just casual events, it could be your classmates. Anyone and everyone is your network. So connect with them and build those relationships.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really liked that you said, Anna, was you wanted to create yourself to be the most marketable that you could possibly be. And that really is, especially when you're a graduate or a young professional looking for work. How do you make yourself, as Saif said, the number one person, the person that stands out, the most marketable person that you can be? And that is, you know, talking to your friends from university and critiquing each other's CVs and doing mock interviews. And as Saif did, reaching out to people on LinkedIn and just getting your name out there, walking into a hotel and saying, I want to meet your GM. I would love to. I have that I love that he has that confidence because not a lot of people do. But, you know, it really, as he said, it makes it show just how passionate he is and just how ready he is to take those positions. So I think you guys tied in very well with the, you know, the points that you were trying to get across there. I think that was really great.
Again, we didn't plan the answers. Just perfect.
Good. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Anna. We're going to make you disappear just while we chat to Nicola, and then we'll bring you back for the panel. So thank you so much. So I'm really excited now to introduce our final guest, Nicola Root. Welcome, Nicola.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. And good morning, afternoon, evening to all of your wonderful audience.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that we have people that we're connecting from all over the world. So I really appreciate everyone that took the time out of their day, this 1 hour, just to see how we can help them with networking. And I'm really excited that you're here, Nicola, because I have self-proclaimed you the networking guru because I have always, you know, in the couple of years that I have known you, what we met at a networking event, I look up to you very much when I look to networking and all the stuff that you do. You're always active on your Instagram and on LinkedIn and all over the place in hospitality. So I'm really excited that you agreed to be here and will give your knowledge to everyone here.
No, and thank you both for having me. And Kat, you are an amazing networker as well. And I think one tip that I'd want to share with you all, which one thing that I loved when I first met Kat, just your smile and your passion. As long as you've got that smile and you're passionate about what you're there networking for and you love what you do, it will shine through and it makes networking so much easier. So I know I should have ended maybe at that point, but
yeah, that's okay. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
So that's when I first met you. I was like, instantly, people are drawn to you because you love what you do. So that's one thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Well, I'd love if we could start off just like the other two. Could you tell us an example of when networking has benefited your career?
Gosh, so I've got quite a couple of stories, but I will try and make this quick.
So go for it.
I would just say overall for me, the minute I started out in events, I've been in events now for this my 8th year. I've been networking since I started and just continue it. I think the one thing for me is to be out, go to everything you possibly can, although this is sort of pre-COVID. And it's all for me, I always go to everything because I'm always like, I will always learn something. And I think the couple of times that networking has paid off, I remember one time, it's probably one of your events actually, and I was thinking, you know what, I'm absolutely knackered. I don't want to go out in London tonight. I'm really not in the mood to go. And I just went and was just chatting around with people, wasn't even there with any goals were sort of in mind. I just thought I'm going to go, just see what happens, pop along for an hour or so. And chatting away to this lady. But I think my point I'm making, because I've had the confidence in talking to people for so many years, I'm just used to just going up and just speaking to people. And that does take time. I'm not going to say, I remember when I first was going to network event thinking, oh my God, how do I start? Whatever. But always know there's other people in that room that are feeling exactly the same as you. So just go and speak to that person on their own, or say, you know, I like that dress. I remember that's one thing I always say, chatting to someone in the toilet, just those, you know, just those small little tips that help you work. Anyway, back to my story. So chatting away to this lady, and she said, oh, she felt a bit, it was her first time out. She just had her twin boys or whatever. She was feeling a bit insecure or whatever. And just talking away like, this is what I do in the industry, kept it just really formal, not where do you work? What do you do? Just literally, I go into networking as if I'm going to make friends. That's the one thing I do. And no, I do have my business head on sometimes, but at some networking events, it's just go and see what happens. Chatting away to this lady, and at the end of the night, she actually came up and said, well, where do you work? And I said, oh, I'm at the various agency I was with then. And she gave me her business card, and she was head of events for a massive financial company, and let me go and pitch for an event the next day. Like, literally sent us a brief and was like, come in, I want to work with you. And that was just so random, but it just proves that that's how networking can work. And I'd say all job opportunities, especially now I'm doing my freelancing, all of my contacts, everything has come from networking and getting out there.
Amazing. I love that. And I love that you said, you go in with the mind of making friends, because it helps you, especially too, if you go in nervous, okay, what's my elevator pitch? How am I going to say everything about me and just blurt it at some random person in front of me? It's a lot less nerve-wracking to just go up with no commitment to what you need to say and just saying, hi, I'm Kat. How are you? What you doing here? What's going on? Who are you? I want to get to know you. And that way, it's building that personal relationship first, because, you might go up to someone at this event and just get chatting with them about the fact that you both have cats or you both love to travel in Spain. And, and then, half an hour later, you realize that they're the director of HR at a hotel. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've just kind of sold myself very personally to someone who now really enjoyed our conversation, knows who I am as a human rather than an employee, and knows, a lot of people say you can train the skills, you can't train the personality. So with a lot of networking events, even virtually now, when you get sent to breakout rooms and you say, introduce yourself, I'm a hater of awkward silence. So I'm always the one to be like, okay, me first. This is me, and these are 3 fun facts. And I always go in like that, because that tends to be the way that people respond. When you tell them that you love ciders, hiking, and you have a cat named after vodka, 90% of the people want to know about my cat named after vodka, but it gets conversation started. So I completely, sorry, my long rant was that I completely agree with you, Nicola.
No. I think that's brilliant. And it is the thing, even though, and I will maybe touch on goals, so your goal might be that you, networking is just part of the process in order to get you where you want to be. So just don't put too much pressure on networking, but just see it, and sometimes it is really nervous. I come across as quite confident, but even sometimes I get anxiety. I've got to go in this room with a few hundred people and I don't really know what to say. So just change your perception, see it as, this is going to be fun, and what can I learn from turning up to this event tonight or jumping on this Zoom call? Yeah,
I love that. What can you learn? I love that. Good. Well, so in the hospitality and events world, why do you think it's important for young professionals like graduates or new professionals to the industry to network within the industry?
It's important in order to get where you want to be. Everything, especially in events, it's who you know. It's who you know. So get out to as many events as possible, or if we're still in this pandemic, I don't know where everybody is in the world, join as many groups as you can, or reach out to people that might be in a similar field to you, or look at what other events are happening. So for example, I joined Event Goal Getters last year, the Female Hospitality Network, and actually those people have become my event tribe, that I sort of call them. So anything I need, I instantly reach out to them, because, and that has taken a while. It took a couple of months for everyone to sort of all get used to each other, but they build your support network and find your tribe. There's so many things you can look on, like follow people like us, and I'm more than happy to put people in contact with people. And I think the pandemic has actually helped, that all of us have all sort of come together and we're all sort of here to help each other. And even though I am, people say, like the networking guru, I'm always out and about, I've learned so much, and actually I've got so many new connections during this pandemic by building my tribe. And I think that should be a goal with your networking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love, how you say your support network, your tribe, right? Because it can even be as simple, when I'm telling people, when they're saying, oh, I don't know what to say when I reach out to someone on LinkedIn, or I don't know how to post on LinkedIn to get myself relevant. I always tell people to first use your support network, a couple of friends, a couple of colleagues, a couple of people from your school. And then maybe, I'm not even joking. My mom still proofreads almost everything for me. I'm always like, like, Mom, I need your help. Read this for me, because they have the experience and they'll be able to give you ideas and perspectives from different windows. Someone might say, oh, that reads really great. But someone might say, actually, you know what? Change this sentence slightly, and you'll be able to get a better response or something like that. So your support network isn't just there to help you get a job or to help you progress in your career. It's there to truly support you and help you build your way through.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so funny. So that my old colleague, who's actually she's one of my best friends now, Francesca Sicola, everything I send, I always double check it with her. She's like grammar queen.
Yeah.
I always double check. But on a point on that as well, I find when I was with my last couple of agencies, it was that you wrote in a certain way and put on this persona. And actually the last couple of years, I'm like, no, just be real, be yourself. You don't have, yes, if you're writing formally to an employer or whatever, but I'm finding I get so much more response when I'm just real and myself. Like, I'm not the best at writing. So, and that's the other thing, send a couple of videos as well, like people looking for jobs trying to get out. Just share on a story or send a video to people like, hi, this is me, this is what I'm looking for. Because it shows I think that it's technology in the way that the world is going. People are more likely to see you stand out, that you've sent a video of yourself to say, I'm here, I've come to work experience or intern, or I'm looking for a job. Yeah, I just find that better to me because I'm not the best at writing. So I don't spend hours writing blogs. I'd rather do it on video because that's going to get the best of me out there.
And that's it, the best of you, right? Showing your personality. When we were talking before about how you stand out in all this competition out there, well, people want people that are passionate and excited and motivated to get into the industry, but it's so hard to show that on your CV. Right. So if you can put a video on your LinkedIn that literally just, for me, it'd be like, hi, I'm Kat, and just so, because that's literally who I am. You're laughing because that's exactly who I am. But, and that's what tends to resonate well with people. That's what people want to know. Like a quick little side note is I put a post on LinkedIn the other day, and I put a sticky note on my head saying working from home is driving me crazy. And it was just a picture of me with a sticky note on my head that said that, and so many people loved it. I got so many messages being like, oh my gosh, me too. And it just it added a little bit of personality to such a simple post. And that's what people really want to see and what they really resonate with. Yeah,
for sure. And I think yes, the events industry is a profession, but I found, especially in lockdown now, people be more real with people. And actually, the more I'm opening up on my Instagram stories, like I've been through a phase of I'm binge eating all the time. I'm really finding it hard to exercise, and actually sharing those stories. And even though I think, oh, but I can't do this, it's going out to my professional network, I've got so many more connections, and someone's actually said, oh, off the back of that. So thanks for sharing that. I'm having a hard time too. Do you want to come freelance to this event for me? Yeah, and
yes.
just by being real and open. Yeah, and that's one thing I've learned actually. And you'll never know it all, and keep learning.
Yeah, I love that.
And it is so hard to be real. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but it's easy to say and it's easy to give this advice, but it is really difficult. So if you're struggling to get there right now, if you're just kind of like, oh, what do I say on the internet? Carefully start in your comfort zone or slightly outside of it. Don't jump into the deep end. Don't make a video if you've never done it before, if you don't know how to talk to camera and all of these things. Start somewhere, and step by step you'll get there and you'll find yourself.
I think as well, with the video thing, I remember when I first was like, oh gosh, because I set my goals that I wanted to be a bit more out there, and because I couldn't go to every networking event, I couldn't be out 3-4 times a week like I was, because this was the world for the last 18 months. But actually, it is, go and write that blog, go and do that video. That it might go wrong, but you will learn from it, and at least you can say, I've done it, and that's what I've learned from. Sorry, Maria, to disagree, but it's like, that's the imposter syndrome. Like, stop the imposter syndrome. You have your vision in your head, like where you want to go in your career, break that down and then go out and get it.
Yeah. And then that's, speaking a little bit to what Maria said, if you're not confident, that's what your support network's for, send it to your friends, send it. How do you feel about this? Is this something you think I could share? And if you get a majority positive response, go for it. See what happens. I've posted lots of videos now and I am much more confident. And I now look back at my first ones and go, oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing. But nobody at the time thought that. No one thought that.
Like,
It was just me looking back being like, oh God, I'm so much better now. Thank goodness.
But it's like with Reels, I'm like, oh, I'm quite a dinosaur when it comes to tech. But I remember doing Reels at the start of the show. It took me like 3 hours. And I was like, well, I have to do it because everyone else is doing it. But actually, it's got to the point where that's not actually serving me. I will start them again because that I'm being told that's what you have to do. But I started it, and yes, I got likes and a few comments, but it didn't serve me for 3 months. So I stopped doing it. And I think when you're starting out, go and test a bit of everything and you'll find your niche. Like, I'm not on Twitter. My thing is Instagram. That's where my connections are, and LinkedIn. And you'll speak to people and say, we need to be on everywhere. You don't. Like, do what's best for you and what you feel comfortable using.
Yeah. Good. And speaking to that, we've talked a little bit about what is personal branding. Even though we didn't actually say personal branding, being yourself and getting your real self out there is personal branding. And we've talked a little bit about why that's important. But I would love to know from you, Nicola, what key steps would you suggest for young professionals to take to start building that personal brand, other than just jumping in and doing a video just to see how well it goes? Do you have any other tips?
Yeah, I would. Gosh, personal branding is so hard because I think it's becoming one of the things that it's almost like a must-have. So even though you have your career, your personal development, personal branding needs to come across. It's very much like what Anna and Saif were saying earlier, that in order to stand out. But I wouldn't freak out. So I remember when people going, oh my God, personal branding, what is it? I've only really been developing my personal branding in the last year and still doing so. Like, I haven't got a website or anything, but yeah, I'm in that process. But it's, what is your niche? Like, what are you good at? How do you feel like you can add value to the industry or to the job that you're trying to go for? And really hone in on your niche, because everybody has got something. And that takes a long time to learn. It's taken me a good 6 months to suddenly go, yeah, I actually am the good networker, and I'm going to put out about this, and this is the type of thing. And when you really open up to the universe and getting spiritual, opportunities come your way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, speaking of, it's not instant. It definitely takes time. For example, you mentioned that you've only been really working on your personal brand for a year. So have I. My Nerdy Hotelier only came out, only started in August last year. However, I've always been nerdy about hotels. It's always been something that's been really weird about me. When I'd go for site visits at university to hotels, I'd literally be like, oh my God, this wallpaper is so nice. And I'd be like the weirdo in the back, feeling the wall, but I've always been nerdy about hotels. But it was only a year ago that I started thinking, well, actually, I'm now out of work. I've been made redundant. How can I use my weird nerdiness for hotels to build something that's going to make me stand out for the rest? So, we don't want to scare people and say, you need to have a personal brand now. But as you said, what are your values? What are you passionate about? What makes you you? And try to slowly develop that into something that can stand you out from others.
Yeah.
And on that note, I have to say we are almost running out of time. I know it's unbelievable.
I just love talking.
But yes, it's been fantastic conversation. But I want to make sure we bring Anna back and we have to answer the questions that you guys have asked. You guys are watching and very much want to learn more about networking. We've got quite a few here. So let's get started with, where do you go to find people in the hospitality and travel sector? So events, groups, things like that. What kind of examples can you share in terms of where you go to find?
I think it would be really good to talk a little bit about virtually as well, especially as that's where these students are going to be looking. Me personally, I actually go to podcasts. There's quite a few hospitality, hotel, events, and tourism related podcasts that interview people in the industry. And I just listen to an episode, add them on LinkedIn and say, hey, I really love when you said this, or I really loved this part of your journey and your experience. And that's where I go to look for it.
Anna?
I think it can be as simple too as just starting simple. I mean, podcasts are a great place to start. I do that myself. But, whatever social media you're on, it can be LinkedIn, it can be Instagram. Look at the hashtags. And, hashtag hospitality industry, or, any of those things that, anything that might have been in the hashtags for this event here. If this event interested you, look up those hashtags and something might come across that's interesting, or somebody might have a job opening or something that they're marketing for, or an event that they're marketing for. And then you can reach out there too. And most businesses will have like an Instagram and a LinkedIn. So if you see something come across on Instagram, go look at them on LinkedIn and see if they're, something that you would be interested in, and then reach out that way. It can be just that simple, scrolling before you go to bed. It doesn't have to be something that is, you're doing every day. Just, it can be something simple.
Yeah, make it part of your life, because you don't want to go add new things to whatever you're already doing, but what are you doing that you can leverage more of? And I think it's a similar in terms of question from Akash, is that what's the best networking platforms? And to just really synthesize what you said, pretty much any platform you can think of could be a great networking platform. Any other tips? Maybe, Nicola, you have any other specific platforms you...
What's for professionals? Do you mean in terms of within the hospitality and events sector? I would start looking up. You've got for graduates, you've got like Event First Steps, Event Grads. More professionals, you've got like in the UK, we've got EMA, which is for corporate planners, and also like Events Profs Live. And when you're looking, you'll always see with those type of people what type of groups they go to and what's best for you.
Yeah. And there's even, for more hotel specific, there's the Institute of Hospitality, there's the Master Inn Holders, that are associations that you can join. But even, on LinkedIn, just search events and search your area and see if there's, someone in the UK that started an events networking group on LinkedIn, and see if there's a hotel networking group on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has really interesting little groups that you can join, and you can, you can literally just, once you join, look through the list of who else is in this group, look at who's talking in the group, and connect with them and just say hello.
Yeah.
And for recent grads, I think don't discount your alumni network. And different universities might have different places, whether they're, the normal social platforms, or they might have, a chat room or a forum or something like that with your alumni network. So if you are a recent grad, don't discount the alumni network.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. You can also find an alumni network on LinkedIn if you go to your university. And I know no one really goes to university pages, but if you do, you're going to find a whole lot of alumni there that you can connect with. You can reach out to and whatnot. And yeah, LinkedIn is big, there's a lot there, but how to get to those little bits and pieces, you kind of need to fiddle around and search around a little bit. We've got a question from Alexia, and I think maybe for Anna, but also Nicola, very much welcome to answer. What other courses, certificates can we get while at university to come out with more than just the degree? I mean, it will definitely vary, I would say, depending on what you want. But where would someone start looking for something like that?
It's a really good question.
It's a very good question. I think that, Maria, you said it right in that it depends on what you're looking for. But, for me, I knew that I wanted to do, something in the creatives, whether it was wedding planning or travel or something like that. So something came up literally on my Instagram that was for a wedding planning certification, and it was discounted, back in June of 2020 because nobody was doing that kind of stuff. So I think it's looking into and realizing what you want for your future, and then looking into different certifications that you can get, or as simple as pay for a couple of months of LinkedIn Premium and do some of the LinkedIn learning. and because that goes right onto your LinkedIn page and your profile. So if you're not sure yet where you might want to get a certification, just, go and look on there. There might be something. There's, a broad range of different things that you can learn in LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Anything to add, Nicola?
No, but I've noted that down. See, I've learned something today.
Love it.
Perfect. Yeah, I think one thing I would personally add is that there are just so many things you can be certified in. You can study, you can add on to your resume. Be quite selective. Don't try to go for everything. But if there is a rather short thing available that doesn't take too much time, doesn't cost too much, maybe even free, go for it, because it might be quite specific. It will help you kind of show off a little bit, say, I'm interested in that. Look, I spent time learning this. But if it's a several-year commitment, I mean, we're not, if anyone is in finance industry, things like charters take 5 years, maybe at the least. So you want to be really careful about if you want to commit to something like that. But there's smaller things you can do.
Sorry, can I add something onto that as well? I don't know because if you were based out in the States, but I think after doing a hospitality and events degree here, I didn't. I came in from another sector. It's go and get as much experience as you can, because that's the best way to learn. So even though it's great that you're going to have this extra thing on your CV, but if compared to somebody that might have had a year of work experience or 6 months, or they had this job doing on freelance, you're going to get so much more value from that, because you're going to be put on the spot. You're going to experience it firsthand rather than sitting on, doing another course or something. I don't know. I did my degree in something else, but the way I got into events was just get out and work and do it.
And if I can add a little bit to that, Nicola, as well, I understand that for a lot of students, it's really hard to find work right now. But this work, especially if you have time, doesn't have to be paid work. I'm currently a freelancer, and I work for 3 different companies at the moment. And all 3 of those companies came from one volunteer job that I took on. It just so happened that someone said, hey, I see that you've been made redundant and you have some free time. Would you be able to help us with this conference? And I said, you know what? I'd love to learn how to virtually produce events. And, I'm happy to give you my time to learn this. I don't have to pay for anything, which is very greatly appreciated. I'll volunteer my time instead. And I've just been lucky enough that opportunity has now turned into 3 paid working jobs. So, if you have the time, I don't want anyone to overcommit. If you're, going to school and maybe writing your thesis, it might not be the right time to volunteer. But if you do find some opportunities that you can fit into your schedule, go for it. Get that experience, get that volunteer, put it on your CV. Look at me, I'm going out and I'm doing things, and I'm trying to get myself out there, and that will really help. Yeah.
Absolutely. Love it. I love it. I love when you go find it yourself. That's the best, because you're going to learn from it, because you want to do it, and you're going to take as much as you can from it. And I think that's the objective. That's why you're here, and that's why you want to learn how to do networking and how to benefit from it, because you want to get something out of it. And I think we answered most of the questions. Some are very similar. Thank you so much, Akash, Kasim, and Alexia, for asking those. And it looks like we're running out of time.
Look at that, ending on time. Who would have thought? I do want to say, there's a comment when we were talking about your support network, and I actually really liked it. It's from someone named Kasim, I believe, and he said it's about family. It's about building your network as a family, and I really appreciate that. I think that's really nice, because you're going to have this career for the rest of your life. You're going to be working with these people. You're going to come in and out of each other's lives at different points in your life and your career. So having that relationship, making it personal and making it important to you and to them like a family, I think is a really nice thought to end on.
Well, yeah. And on that note, I'm just going to put some things in a comment. If you want to follow Nicola, Anna, myself, or Saif, please do follow them. Connect with them on LinkedIn, anywhere else, Instagram, wherever you sort of find them. Say hello. Say thank you for volunteering the time, because thank you so much for your insights, valuable time, of course, and for yeah, for sharing this with everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks so much.
And I hope we get lots of connections. I'm waiting for you. Good. Amazing.
Excellent. Fantastic. Have a good rest of the day, everybody. Morning, afternoon, evening. And
Yes,
bye.
you too. Bye.
Bye.